What is up, dreamers? Welcome back to some more Mobius Final Fantasy with your boy Robbie Daggett. In this one, we're going to take a look at the Sephiroth 5-star MP battle. You'll be able to use this guide for any of the Sephiroths, but we're going to focus on 5-star since that's the most difficult one. Thank you so much for coming by. Before we even get into it, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you share this video if you think it'll help somebody out, because we will have some more content coming in the near future. So buckle up, let's jump right into the 5-star guide. So Sephiroth is a very difficult battle. We're going to start talking about the tank, and then we'll move on to the rest of the party. So I'm going to tell you what the kind of bare minimums you're going to need in order for a safe battle, in order to kind of do your part and kind of help out the rest of your team. So starting with tank, because I think tank is one of the most underrated, but most, I don't know, it's just like the best thing for this fight, and this is really the leader of the battle, basically. This is who's going to keep you guys alive. So what we're looking at here is just a tanky tank. So we're looking at Knight Hall of Fame. I've seen Warrior Hall of Fame work as well. A lot of other jobs just don't have the tankiness to withstand the double Octaslash that Sephiroth will feed you every once in a while. Basically, we were thinking 1 gold star defense minimum is probably going to be what you need to get through this fight. Everything else seems a little too squishy, and about 20k HP, so if you can make that work, your tank will probably do fine. As far as decks go here, 2 taunts minimum. The reason why is because you need to have a taunt as soon as the battle starts, and then you need to have another taunt ready for after he gets to halfway. After he throws up that gold shield immunity, you need to throw another taunt at that time. As soon as you see that gold shield, you need to throw that taunt. If not, somebody will die, and you're not doing your job. So I like 3 taunts personally, just in case the battle goes a little bit longer. And for your pickup group setups, this might work a little bit better for you. And then we've got a stun in here in order to buy a turn, and again, that's for, you know, just in case things go wrong. You could go with a sleep here. You could go with like Ash card, whatever you want. Basically, just stun will buy you a turn, so I like that one. I have heard people recommend Trance. I don't like Trance in the tank deck because your healer, most of the time, or some of the time, they'll be providing a Trance for you, and if you need a Trance to survive against Sephiroth's onslaught, then your tank just might not be tanky enough. So you might just have to level some stuff up in order to make it work. But the taunt also will apply a dispel. You want to be dispelling Sephiroth. He's going to be buffing himself after certain turns, so you want to be able to dispel his buffs. You don't want to be getting hit with him with full buffs. The other very important thing that you have to remember as a tank, very, very important, is you need to be going last. You need to be going last, and your last action needs a drive. Going last will make it so that Sephiroth targets you with all his attacks. Driving last will make it so that your elements don't get absorbed by Sephiroth, making it hell for your attacker and your breaker. So you want to make sure you're driving so that you're preventing drives on you from your enemy. So keep that in mind. I think that's the most important thing that a lot of people don't mention or forget. Make sure you're doing those drives. Make sure you're going last. Make sure you keep a taunt on your enemy at all times. And that's basically the tank setup. If you can make all that work, you will save your party. You will save lives, basically, in the run. Next up, we'll talk about the breaker, because breaker is another one of those very complicated and stressful jobs to play for this rotation, because Sephiroth is breakable, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot more than most breakers are bringing to the table, even myself personally. So my basic setup would be basically, I feel as if only certain breakers work for this. Only Ninja, only Master Monk, and Assassin Hall of Fame are going to be usable for this. The reason why is because they have piercing break passives, and that's going to help you devour that gigantic break bar that Sephiroth's got. So what we're looking at as far as the deck, so we're looking at BDD, we're looking at a Dark force. So 1 elemental BDD, 1 dark force. These cards aren't actually here for me to use. They're here for one purpose only, and that is for the life element starter. +1. So you don't actually have to use these cards. You just want to use cards with life element starter. The reason why is because with these both having life element starter, I'll have 2 orbs to be able to get my dark force off first turn, which will really help me out on using more BDDs so I can get that target broken. I've seen that it can take you 4 to 5 uses of a BDD in order to break an entire bar by yourself. Use the Bahamut card. I would not use the Cloud Final Fantasy VII Break Defense Down card. That card's basically trash for this fight. It just doesn't have enough. It doesn't have as much break power as your Bahamut, and you definitely want as much break power as you can get. So that's why I'm going with this setup. The other thing is you're gonna need at least 5 JCR. So JCR is Job Change Recast. As you can see, I'm loaded up. We got 2 here. I have 2 in Undying, and then I'm using 1 more in my Bahamut card, and then that could leave me open to be able to put whatever I need. It would probably be break percentage up, since this break power that I'm showing you here, I'm showcasing here, is a little bit low. I would recommend closer to 2500 plus break power. This is entirely too low. I would have to take this back and do some work to this before I brought it into a battle. The other thing is, expect to not break in 1 turn. Even the most basically wailing players, even really nice Aerith setups, are having difficulty in breaking the target, breaking Sephiroth in the first turn. So you may want to expect to take 2 turns to break. So that's why my tank build looks the way it is. And I just don't think that most people are going to be able to break Sephiroth in 1 turn. It's mostly going to be a 2-turn game, so keep that in mind and be prepared for it. That's why I'm going with Force. That will let you throw as many BDDs as you can in order to get that bar broken. The reason why this works is because you should be able to cast this, use as many as you can of your Dark Force here, and then just start smacking that bar and try to get that bar down. It's going to take you at least 3 or 4 of these, unfortunately. You could go with this same setup but Dark Shift, but you just have to mind the cooldowns. It does work really well though. But yeah, this is probably one of the most stressful roles to play for this rotation, just because there's a lot riding on your orb, you know, your orb generation, your orb management, and your break power, and it's not easy at all. So next up, let's talk about the attacker, since we were just talking about the breaker. Your attacker should be helping you out with the red bar. If you're running an attacker and all you have is damage focuses, you need to go to the shop and buy yourself a red bar break defense down card or something in order to be helping out breakers to break that whole bar. As you can see, I mean, you've probably seen it by now if you haven't been in that fight, but breakers are having a ton of trouble with that gigantic yellow bar. If you can help break that bar, then the breaker can save actions, convert those into taps, and use those taps in order to break, which is what's going to be necessary. I've seen far too many attackers not doing anything until the target's broken, and that is just so messed up, and it's such a waste. So please, guys, please bring something to help break the bar. So you're seeing here, I'm using Esmeralda, and we're using Manticore for our break defense down card. It's got a good amount of break power on there. 1 or 2 uses of this will be enough to help out your breaker the first turn. And then we've got an Earth Shift, so we can use our Earth damage focus. So you want 1 red bar damage card, and then you want 1 damage focus card, and then a shift for that damage focus card, and then an elemental trance. As you can see, this setup has been like the same. This is a basic attacker setup. Basic attacker setup would have a shift and a trance in there. This would be Mage Trance. I just haven't gotten around to working on the newest card yet. So that way you're kind of helping out, and be prepared to kind of help out with taps for orb generation for your breaker, for yourself, and to help assist breaks also. It's all very important. Your teamwork is gonna be what carries you guys through the battle into beating Sephiroth without any team deaths. So keep that in mind. Definitely help out. Biggest thing for attacker, I would say, is bring something to help the red bar, because it is pretty just grimy basically if you're just running in there with damage focuses. Unless you're able to like one-shot the boss or something like that, then that's a totally different deal. The last class we'll talk about is support. So support is another pretty easy class, pretty laid-back class to play, but there is one thing that's pretty important with support, and it's that you have to bring a form of cleanse or esuna, since you will be starting the battle with 99 turns of break defense down. I mean breakdown basically on yourself. So you need to be able to wipe that off with an esuna. So that's where it gets a little tricky, because you have to be using either Tyro, Aerith, or Racing Heart, or Lunafreya. So there's four good cards that all provide cleanse. And as you can see in this deck, we're using Tyro for our example. But you could use Aerith to cleanse. You could switch Gaia out for Racing Heart from the Anniversary to cleanse. But you gotta have a Heart Shift deck first of all. And then after having the Heart Shift deck, you gotta make sure you've got your cleanse card in there. So again, that's either a Racing Heart, Tyro, Lunafreya, or of course if you have Aerith, Aerith is always a really nice support that will cleanse for you. And then the other thing is make sure you're cleansing before you're applying your Knights of the Round buff. I have seen, just real quick, I've seen a few healers still using the Sarah buff. Take that out, please, and switch that out with Knights of the Round. You need to be bringing boost. You're missing a huge buff, a huge important basic buff if you're switching this out for a Sarah card and foregoing the boost. Your whole party is going to need boost for this one in order to get a good break. So bring Knights of the Round. But yeah, so to take off the BDD buff, use your cleanse card first. So what we would have to do with this deck, since this card, Gaia doesn't actually cleanse, we would have to use Gaia first, and then go into using Tyro for the cleanse, and then use Knights of the Round. Very important that we don't just go down the line and use, say, Gaia first, and then Knights of the Round, and then Tyro. What will actually happen is the break defense down will go away, but we won't get a boost buff, basically. So we'll be stuck with the anti-boost. The anti-boost can basically make it so that if you use this on top of it, then there's no boost at all. It just kind of evens out and will leave you with nothing. So you don't want to do that at all. Definitely have something to cleanse if you possibly can. Or actually, you're gonna need to. You can't get through the battle basically if you're not cleansing something or cleansing that buff. So, and there are other debuffs that Sephiroth will apply. So just be prepared to drop all of your buffs at one time and then drop your buffs as they kind of come in order to help out your party. Not super hard to play support in this. Probably the hardest job I want to say is either breaker or tank, since the party's going to be relying on you for more than one thing. So those are going to be the jobs that we're going to be looking for when we're making parties. If you guys feel like I forgot anything, or if you want to add anything, go ahead and post your comments down below in the chat. You can also, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them there. You can always come by the Dreamer Society Discord. Links down below in the bio. And then also, we're always streaming over on Twitch, so come by twitch.tv/RobbieDag, and we're always there as well. Links in the bio. Join up in the Dreamer Society Discord if you like, and you need any more help from there, or you want some more coordinated runs. And we'll be doing some more videos, so no worries. Make sure you hit that subscribe if you already haven't. We'll be doing tons more of these. I hope this helps. Best of luck to you guys out there, and I'll see you on the next one.